first time we've ever called an audible. Here he is. What's up, baby? So we're going to go ahead and do what we can. And what you could do is you could double tap the actual screen. We'll bring this up for everyone so you can see it. Here's Arjun Mortgage. Arjun, how's it going, man?
I'm so sorry, guys, and all the audience members. Here I am supposed to be talking about technology as a loan officer, and I mean, I guess it's a big joke, right? Today. So I apologize to everybody for the delay.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. We definitely understand, you know, things happen. So no worries at all. And we're doing the best we can to make this come together full circle. And you're awesome. We appreciate you being here today. And we definitely understand, you know, it is what it is. Happens to the best of us at times.
I apologize. No, let me get into this so that we can leave a little bit of time. I can modify a few things, but I want to get into this for all the loan officers out there, which I know is a big part of the and you know, creating a brand and something that's going to outlast all the disruption that's going on from fintech and everything else. So with that, I'll just jump into it. I'm going to open with a story because I feel like this relates to a lot of loan officers and maybe even realtors to some degree because our businesses are so synergistic. But it was about 4 years ago, and I was basically just having one of those like months where everything felt like I was swimming upstream. And mind you, I've been in the industry now for 20 years. So at that time, it had been 16 years. I'm not, you know, a rookie, but I work in the San Francisco market, which is a very big and competitive big bank market. I call it big bank syndrome, that a lot of clients and you know, agents are typically always drawn towards because they feel like that's the only and the best shot in town. And the market I come from, where I grew up, which is in Reno, Nevada, big banks are actually the last place anyone goes for a mortgage. So it was a totally different dynamic, but I was really, really, you know, running up against a wall with almost every single transaction in terms of getting shopped. I had agents yelling at me. I had people disrespecting me. I had people not, you know, standing me up for meetings. They'll say, yeah, I'll meet you here as an agent to talk about business. And then they wouldn't even show up. And then when I'd reach out to them, they didn't even apologize. They're like, oh, I just got held up, you know, and I was basically being treated down here and they were up here, and was also doing a lot of pay to play. I know a lot of lenders sometimes can get drawn into that. Pay to play meaning buying Zillow leads and, you know, or paying for marketing costs, you know, for agents, which agents will exploit you and take you on a ride for all the time. And I know there's a lot of realtors out there, and anyone who watches my content and a lot of the stuff that I put out on social media, I jab at realtors, I poke fun at them, but I love them. So it's nothing personal. It's always a punchline for a joke, just like they do to me. So, you know, I reached this point where I was really, really stuck, and I was contemplating even leaving the business because I was just losing deals. I was constantly getting shopped, and I felt like I'd been commoditized. That's effectively what had happened to me. I'd been put into a box as a lender, and that's how the market was viewing me. That's how clients were viewing me, and I needed to turn the table. So I talked to my business coach, who's a mortgage coach as well. I've been with him for 12 years. He's a mindset coach, and asked him, you know, like, I don't know what to do. I'm contemplating, you know, just dropping this and maybe doing something else. Maybe I'll get into tech. That's what everybody else out here does in San Francisco. Screw real estate. Or I'll become an agent and just get on that side of it. And he said, well, who actually knows who you are? And I said, what do you mean? He said, if I go online and Google you right now, what am I going to find out? Or if I go on social media, what am I going to find out? Now, I had a social media presence because I used it to stay connected in the martial arts world. So for those of you who don't know, I coach the U.S. national taekwondo team. So doing that, you know, I've made a lot of friends all over the world, and we stay really closely connected. So Facebook tended to basically cover all my personal life and my martial arts life as a coach and as a former athlete that competed on the national team. So, but I never thought about using it as a way to put out information to an audience. So he asked me that, and the tough answer was, after looking at myself in the mirror, that nobody knows anything about me. So why would I expect people to look at me different? How do I expect the dynamic to change? How do I expect the tables to turn when nobody really knows much about me, and all they know is that, you know, I do taekwondo, because there would be some press there or some articles or just mentions of that, and social media alluded to it. So I needed to change, but that's when the light went off, when I realized nobody knows enough about me that I'm a lender or that I'm good at what I do. And I believed in myself. I knew I was good at what I do, but nobody else knew that. So the only way that this was going to work was through content. And that's when everything changed in my business. That's when it scaled. That's when it turned the tables. And I can tell you now, after I go over the quick, very abbreviated lesson with everyone, for all loan officers that are sitting out there that maybe felt that same frustration or they still do, it turned the dynamic and business comes to me now. I still pursue, agents and referral partners and whatnot, but I do so now from a place of credibility because they've either seen me, they've heard of me, they've crossed paths with some of my content. It's come at them. So the more that people have gotten to know me that way, the easier it's been for me to create inroads. So I'll tell you this right now, the only way that any of us last, because all of our lunch is being eaten, all lenders and real estate agents. Few people are in denial about this, but most people are coming around. Fintech is eating our lunch. There are companies that are being created, many of them that have already been out there. They're going direct to the consumer and basically teaching or preaching that there's no need for people like us that do what we do. And they may be right. They may be very much right, because no value was actually being given by the professional, by the lender or the realtor. So consumers who've been long dissatisfied with the process, whether it's on the mortgage side or the real estate side, are always looking for something better, savvier, more sexy, and oftentimes less expensive. But we all know, as people that provide a service, whether we're lenders or realtors, that that's not the case. But we have to change that narrative. And again, the only way you're going to do that is with a brand that actually outlasts all of this disruption, that people remember, that people are drawn towards, and that people are going to gravitate towards no matter what. When given an option of technology or something really cool and shiny over here, this being your brand, has to be able to outlast that, has to be able to outshine and be louder. So a lot of people know this, right? Because everyone's on social media. Everyone knows I need to do something, but I just don't know what. And how you get started, where you get started, and what you actually do coming out of the gates is the real tricky thing. But I want to share with everybody right now just a few steps in what you can do to get started. And you have to start, because you're either going to make yourself relevant or you will be pushed to a state of irrelevance. And it's not, just me trying to shock everyone or say something maybe you already know this. You probably already know this if you've been in the industry, but I'm trying to ring the bell here that everyone in our industry needs to get on board with this and become the digital mayor, as Gary Vee says, of their market. Become the authority, become the voice in their space. Otherwise, you will get drowned out and you'll be pushed to a point of irrelevance. If you did X number of deals last year, it's going to be less this year because fintech's eating that lunch, and it's going to be less, and it's going to be less unless you do something to stay relevant. So everyone knows and hears the expression personal brand, but very few people actually apply it when you see their content. If you look through and you scroll through most real estate and lender pages, you'll see a lot of stats. You'll see a lot of boasting or gloating. Just sold, producers club, I'm top this, or this is my favorite, they're posting about their brokerage or their company. Now, that's by design. The company is probably providing that to you, and you're putting out that type of content, which is great for the company, but it still doesn't tell anything about you, doesn't tell anyone anything about you. And again, that's where you need to change. So the first place, and this is step one for everyone, if you're just jotting this down, is that you've got to figure out your personal brand. And there's an exercise into doing this, which I want to go through with everybody really quick. And this will help you, because this will make your content creation a lot easier. It'll make this more fun. It's going to be authentic, genuine, personable, relatable. So what you want to do is just on a piece of paper, you want to write down 10 things, if you can get up to 10, but try and do your best, that are very, very important to you. Family, fitness, faith, giving back, making money, cars, fashion, whatever it is. Write all these things down that are really, really important to you. Then I want you to take it and try and narrow it down to about 5. Consolidate some and make it a little bit more concise. And what's going to happen is when you've got this down to 5, and for me, if you go on to my Instagram, you'll see those are my highlights. And you're all going to do the same if you haven't done this. You will create these highlights, and I'll explain why here in just a second. But those highlights are effectively going to be the buckets or the voices of your personal brand. All the content that you create is going to come from one of those voices, because that's personal to you, hence a personal brand. So for me, as an example, mine, if you look at mine, you'll see that family is very big. Service is very big, giving back, helping clients, actually the business that I do. I'm passionate about the business that I do, so that can be one. Martial arts is a big deal to me. So I have all these items in there, and all of my content speaks from one of those places, or it ties back. Because again, it's personal. I could put up stats about mortgage rates and market updates and type all this stuff and just post it with a picture of me doing this. But again, that's what everybody else is doing. It doesn't stand out. And I'm not going to be able to keep a consumer there and, wanting to listen to what I have to say or just be able to hold their attention. So again, create those highlights, and that's the voice from which your content is going to come from. Again, it'll make you more relatable. It'll make you more genuine. It'll make you more personable. And that's, at the end of the day, know, like, and trust is what we're trying to create with anything we do in the way of marketing. So step 2, we covered step 1, which is the personal brand exercise. It just takes you 10, 15 minutes to do it, but I recommend everybody do it as a place of where you start. Step 2 is, what do I actually post? Now, and I used to be really guilty of this when I started, because I got very heavy into the content game, like I said, about 3.5, almost 4 years ago. And that's where I connected with Norman in that space, and we become friends, and that's what brings a lot of us together for events like this. But I was very much drawn or caught in the space of, let me post what I think people want to hear, or what I want to hear myself talk about, because it makes me sound good, or it's what makes me feel intelligent, or it's just what I want to talk about. And while that may work to a small degree, it wasn't always necessarily what the audience wants to hear. So you need to take off the hat that says ego on it, which is what you want to talk about. And you need to put on the ears and the hats of your consumers, of your audience members, and almost poll them in a way, whether you do it on your own behind the scenes or you actually go out to the marketplace and ask, put it in your stories. What topics do you want to hear about? What topics are you most concerned about? What are you scared about? What are you confused about in this market? What do you want to learn about? Are you looking for financial literacy? Are you scared about this market being too similar to 10 years ago, like it being frothy and that it's a bit overheated? Whatever it might be, that's what you want to try and assess. That's what you need to pull your audience for and figure out. And that's the content strategy that you need. You need to speak directly to them. If everyone is raising their hand saying, I'm scared that interest rates are going to go up, and if I'm a mortgage lender, content that I come out with on a regular basis needs to be about that topic. I don't need to talk about necessarily something else on the opposite extreme, like loan products. Yes, I can mix that in, but listen to your audience, poll them, get a pulse on what they actually want to hear about, and that's where you want to start driving your content strategy now. And when you do it, again, this makes things a lot easier. You're not going to have as much confusion of what do I post this week or what do I get into. And don't get me wrong, we all stumble upon creative blocks when we're creating a brand and putting out content. But if we're doing our homework, whether you search Google Analytics or just search on Google, what are the most searched real estate trends? What are the most searched mortgage trends? Your answers of what you need to come up with are right there. The audience is already telling people. They're already looking for it. They're already confused about it. They're already raising their hand. So answer the question, answer the bell there, and that's where you want to be. The last thing about all this stuff, and this is the most important with everything when it comes to a strategy, marketing, execution, is that you have to be consistent with this stuff. You absolutely have to be. It's not going to be a situation where you can just post a little bit here and there and sprinkle some stuff and hope that it turns into something. I posted nonstop for a good year to year and a half before I started seeing some results. Because everyone's always asking, well, what's the ROI of that stuff? I'd rather just buy leads or mine my database or host my open houses with my agents and, try and go to networking meetings, which we all know is something of the past now. I mean, there's in-person events, but the space that we're on now right here with Norman and what his crew put together is what a lot of us are going to be doing. And so how are we going to reach people if we're not doing that? And the way you're going to have to do it is by being consistent. And like I said, my whole year went by, 1.5 years of me posting and not really seeing anything. I wasn't concerned about ROI. I said, I just need to get my name out there. I kept doing business through my other channels, still got frustrated with stuff, still ran into walls, still got rage shopped and all that stuff. But slowly and slowly, the narrative about me and what people knew about me started to change. It started to shift. The dynamic moved. And with more content consistently, I would start getting people reaching back to me saying, hey, how is it that you're doing all this stuff? That gave me an in with an agent. Let's talk about marketing. I'll teach you how to do what I'm doing. Let's share ideas. I have it in now. Or I really enjoyed what you've been talking about, where mortgage rates are trending or what the market is doing or loan products that are out there. You seem like you know what you're talking about. And mind you, I don't know how much of our audience here work for big banks or places that have very, very tight handcuffs around what you can and can't do. But if you're an independent mortgage broker or a direct lender, chances are your company is very much okay with you doing whatever you need to do to get business. As long as you're not breaking the law and posting things that are erroneous or not true or indecent, you have an amazing opportunity. And I recognized that right away because I knew my biggest competition, which were big banks, they can't do anything. They get business fed to them. They're not allowed to have a brand. There's very strict rules about what they can do. They can't even really advise. They can inform people of stuff, but they can't advise. So I knew I've got an opportunity to make up for a lot of time and even pass them from an awareness standpoint. And I was able to do that successfully after about a year and a half. And now it's to the point where after consistent posting, doing lots of outreach, answering my own comments, answering all my DMs, being genuine with my customers, this is now a part of my business. This is
appreciate you doing what you did to really just show up and show out. And I'm back. We had some technical difficulties with the audio, so I am back right now, and we're gonna go ahead and get this together. So, all right. So we want to make this short and sweet. So basically, questions. So any questions that you have, go ahead and give me any questions that you have. Okay. You're gonna come with me. So any questions that anyone has, go ahead and put that in the chat. Sorry about the no sound at the end. We had technical difficulties with that, and it looks like I might even be in the wrong. No, okay, I'm on the right camera there. So so any questions that you guys have for Arjun Mortgage before we go into our 10-minute breakout session? It'll be probably closer to about 8-minute breakout session. Thank you so much, Candy. Appreciate you bringing Arjun over there to your side as we're doing the best we can to be on Instagram and also be here as well. So what was the best, any questions that anyone has, and then takeaways? Do you have any takeaways? Should be able to hear me now. Any questions?
Any last thoughts, Arjun, that you'd like to leave with the people?
No, just takeaway. Start with the personal branding exercise, figure out what your personal brand is, then start to research what to post. And again, do this from the mindset, the ears and the hat of a consumer, not you. Remove yourself out of it. Talk about what they want to hear, what questions and concerns they have.
Yes.
And then lastly, be consistent. You have to really be consistent with this and do it with no expectation. Do this constantly. Yeah. Have a set schedule every week where you're posting every day. Get on your stories. Be the mayor of your town.
I love
and
that.
it will gain traction, I promise you.
That's amazing. And
I love it. Be relevant or be left behind. I love it. When using all these social media platforms, be relevant or be left behind. When using these social media platforms, customers look better. So it says customers look for better, and providing credible and content is the last formula. Awesome. 11. So we have sound now, consistency, posting, being yourself. Awesome. Real estate behind main topic. Awesome. Fantastic. So the best takeaway here, we don't have Arjun on the main stage, so we're going to have to just go ahead and select one of the best takeaways. What do you think, Candy? What would be a good takeaway for our winner? For today's winner is going to be the tripod.
Did Larry win yesterday at all?
We had Larry won already. NJ, Larry won later on in the event. Ashley, I think the Ashleys have not won yet. So it looks like Ashley Hickrent? No, I don't think I did.
I think
NJ.
that's my favorite takeaway. So should real estate be one of your, no, sorry. NJ, she said be relevant or get left behind. I think that's a great takeaway. She should be the winner in my opinion. You decide.
And which one was that?
It was be relevant or get left behind.
I love it. Be relevant or be left behind. That's going to be
Kurt.
Alyssa Heickert. I'm not going to try to pronounce that one. So you just won the selfie stick, and we're going to have to give out more giveaways later on because we did not give away the first person to show up to the attendee, as we had a little bit of a wrench thrown into this. So we're going to go ahead and go to our breakout session here. We're a little behind schedule now. So our next person is going to be talking about Instagram at 9:40. So it looks like we're already at 9:42. So we're going to go ahead and get off the stage, go behind scenes, and come back on here for 1 second. Want to make sure that we're good to go with everything behind the scenes. So let's go ahead and get off stage, and we'll be back here in 1 second. So stay here on the main stage.